Welcome. This presentation discusses the use of biomimicry as a vehicle to teach complex thinking. Our discussion begins by looking at why teaching complex thinking is considered a wicked challenge. We then move to discuss the research-based principles for teaching complex thinking. From there, we will discuss the importance of creating a learning environment that promotes the teaching of complex thinking, and then we will finish by looking at biomimicry and its components that support the teaching of complex thinking. The 2015 NMC Horizon Report cited teaching complex thinking as a wicked challenge for the future. The report defined complex thinking as the application of systems thinking, which Nagel states is the capacity to decipher how individual components work together as part of a whole dynamic unit that creates patterns over time. It is essentially the ability to comprehend how systems work in order to solve problems. The imperative here is that in today's world, the report suggests that higher order thinking is not only a valuable skill, but necessary for understanding and solving complex real-world problems. Equally important is the ability to communicate complex information in ways that are accessible and understandable to the general public. Nagel again suggests that the difficulty with the teaching of complex thinking arises from the fact that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Whilst that may be true, I suggest that while there may not be a one-size-fits-all solution, there is one vehicle that can carry the teaching of complex thinking into the classroom. It's one that everybody has an understanding of at some level because it relates to everybody. And that vehicle is the world we live in, specifically the natural environment. In their 2003 paper titled Research-Based Principles for Teaching Complex Thinking, Tharp and Entz describe the ideal classroom setting. It's a place where work is focused on real products and real problems. It's a place where students develop language and communication skills that transcend curriculum boundaries. It's a place where curriculum is taught through activities that mean something to the students because it relates to their lives and experiences at home and in the wider community. It's a place where students are challenged to apply their learning to solve meaningful problems. And this all takes place in an environment that fosters teamwork. We see that Tharp and Entz's work has similarities with the Horizon Report's findings that highlight these 5 key components. These components are really telling us what sort of environment we need to have in place to successfully teach complex thinking in the classroom. Watching these mushrooms grow illustrates how important an environment is for growth. We know that there is significant research supporting positive learning environments for students, without which learning can become impeded. Just like these mushrooms, given the right environmental conditions, learners can break through many of the obstacles or barriers that stop them from developing a desire and actually gaining genuine understanding. Without this positive learning environment, it's likely to be a struggle for students to move to the place where higher order thinking and complexity are valued and make sense to them. Given the right conditions, even when there are obstacles and barriers, significant growth can occur. I have included these two quotes by Glenn Doman and Tom Clark as they help make the connection between positive learning environments and a student's potential leap into the world of complex thinking. Doman infers that learning environments heavily influence a student's perception about learning and knowledge, and Clark is clearly stating that the future requires complex thinking skills. When you combine these two together, it's a very powerful statement about what learning needs to look like in the future, in the knowledge age. So now that we understand a little more about complex thinking and its challenges, what about biomimicry as a vehicle to get us there? Well, this video offers a brief explanation of what biomimicry is.
Biomimicry is innovation inspired by nature. It's the process of looking at something like a leaf and trying to figure out how to make a better solar cell. It's become popular in the design disciplines, mainly, I think, because people are looking for more sustainable ways to do things. And organisms know how to do this. After 3.8 billion years, life has learned what works and what's appropriate on the planet. And right now, that's what the people trying to redesign our world are looking for. What we do in biomimicry is we bring in biologists to the design table. We look at how does nature contain liquids? How does nature repel water? So for instance, go outside, look at any leaf and the veins in a leaf, and what you're seeing is the world's best water distribution network. There's an amazing thing called the Murray's Law that says that all branching structures in the natural world, including our lungs, they all follow a single mathematical formula. And it has to do with the pipe branches, and it drops down to a smaller diameter, and then it branches again, and that drops down to a smaller diameter. And that's predictable. People in green building now are starting to say, well, maybe our 90-degree angles that we have in plumbing are really friction devices. So maybe we should distribute electricity differently in a building, water differently in a building, even gases, even air conditioning differently in a building.
Now that we have a clearer understanding of what biomimicry is, let's have a look now at the importance of biomimicry in education.
Why does biomimicry hold such potential? Why is it so needed in education? There isn't just one reason. For many educators, they have to ensure their students learn core competencies in subjects like science and engineering and math, and they know their students won't get there unless they stay captivated and engaged. Biomimicry does that. What do butterflies have to do with being able to see your cell phone screen outside? Or what does the curve of an eagle's wing have to do with commercial air flight? By the time you're done telling these stories, the students don't even realize they just learned a lesson in physics. Biomimicry is a compelling context for what teachers have to teach. It connects what students learn in classrooms not just to the real world, to cutting-edge technologies and careers, but also to what students care about on the inside: meaningful work, a healthy environment, a sustainable world. Biomimicry gives these kids such a sense of opportunity and hope. And of course, it's fun. You get to do stuff. Biomimicry is all about reimagining and recreating our world, our technologies and designs, inspired by the genius of nature that surrounds us. Biology may be an old field, but biomimicry is a new one. This is a way to see nature centuries of biologists pretty much missed. And it's not just fun for the students, of course. The teachers can't get enough of it. Chemistry teachers, engineering teachers, design teachers, business teachers. It's fun and helpful and gratifying for educators to bring biomimicry to their students, to give them new ways of observing, new ways of thinking, and new skills for exploring and innovating. The teachers see the impact it has on their students. They see the light in their eyes, the excitement, the respect, and that's what the teachers are there for, to help their students shine. And the students notice the excitement too, because the teachers find biomimicry every bit as fascinating and hopeful as they do.
Biomimicry 3.8 have developed a set of tools they called the Biomimicry Design Lens, which has resulted in a guided process for using nature's genius to inform human design. By learning from the deep design lessons in nature, man can model innovative strategies, and biomimicry thinking provides the context for this to take place. Biomimicry 3.8 have developed two methodologies. The first one is Challenge 2 Biology, and this is where students are seeking to find answers to a problem-based scenario and where the student is seeking biological insights for that solution. The second is Biology 2 Design. This is where a student has had inspirational biological insights and wants to manifest a design or strategies that might inform new innovations from that insight. Both methodologies require students to determine a path and work through that path multiple times. Biomimicry 3.8 suggests that the best results occur when the path has been worked through several times. So, how then does biomimicry help overcome this wicked challenge? Well, if we take a moment to consider the picture on this slide, it's very easy to make a connection between biomimicry and the 5 key components of Tharp and Ence's research principles discussed earlier. An example such as this traffic problem provides a real, meaningful problem that is likely to see the student cross a number of curriculum areas in the STEAM realm and beyond in order to develop a potential solution. But first, they must have to analyse and understand the complexities that exist in both the natural and the man-made environments before they can come up with a workable solution. These two videos give examples of biomimicry in the classroom and how even at an early age there is complex thinking taking place through identifying solutions to real-world issues. And you may notice that these issues covered relate to the student's environment.
What's the problem that your group is working on?
Being warm in the cafeteria.
And what bird are you all mimicking? Okay, so how are you designing something I can buy or something we can make? What are you doing?
Could buy like an air machine.
An air machine? And how would that help?
Because if somebody stops, somebody turns the air machine on and just blows up in their shirt, they'll get them warm.
Awesome. So they can trap air against their body just like a blue jay does. Cool thinking.
Stuffed animals. And I want it to be metal and woodpeckers and
Claws.
and
Sharp claws.
nails.
Okay, so what birds are you mimicking?
Woodpecker.
Okay, how is it a woodpecker? What's special about a woodpecker's teeth?
Because it has really sharp claws, just like the body eagle, and it can pick up stuff.
Cool. Can it pick up or does it hold on tight?
Hold on tight.
Why is that important in a claw machine?
Because it can like pick it up and then it doesn't drop it. It just picks it up and then it puts it in the hole where you get it.
Great idea.
So now let's look at the advantage of using biomimicry as a vehicle to teach complex thinking. Well, firstly, it supports the rise of STEAM learning, and STEAM being science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The company STEAM Education expands the definition of STEAM learning to a fundamental philosophy that all disciplines can and should relate to each other to provide students with the big picture of how a wide variety of knowledge and skill sets tie into each other in the real world. In other words, technology does not exclusively relate to advancing science and engineering. STEAM education is about engaging students in a multi- and interdisciplinary learning context that values the humanities and artistic activities while breaking down barriers that have traditionally existed between different classes and subjects. So secondly, as we've seen, biomimicry connects curriculum to life outside the classroom because it offers true relevance, because it focuses on real problems. Biomimicry also has the advantage of promoting deep learning approaches. Areas such as challenge-based learning, inquiry-based learning, and problem-based learning. I believe one of the key attributes of biomimicry, and it is a key advantage, is it is so familiar to students. It's the backdrop in which they have all lived their life to date. And in that backdrop is a complexity that's presented in what appears to be simplicity, but it is in reality complex designs with specific functions, scales, systems, and patterns. Loew makes the statement that utilising both technology and nature experience will increase our intelligence, creative thinking, and productivity, giving birth to the hybrid mind. And in the accompanying video, he makes the connection between man's need for the natural environment and how the natural environment enhances our ability to think creatively and complexly.
Outside. Lots of studies showing up that really indicate that if we really want our kids to do well on tests, outdoors. I'm thinking about writing a column someday. I want your kids to get into Harvard, tell them to go outside. And it's true. When you look at the effect of the natural world on the ability to learn, I'm not talking about necessarily learning about nature necessarily, part of it, but just learning in nature. When people think about nature, they think of it as something separate from human beings. And yet, the more we understand it, the more we know that this is who we are. This is part of our humanity. We are part of nature. Nature is part of us. We are inseparable to the extent that we realize we're inseparable. And when we take nature away from people, we take away their ability to be fully.
According to biologist E.O. Wilson, mankind has an innate and genetically determined affinity with the natural world. The application of biomimicry in schools would appear to overcome some of the hurdles that exist in connecting what students learn with the real world that they live in, and also help foster the desire to create knowledge that they deem relevant. Using biomimicry as a vehicle to teach complex thinking makes sense, as it fulfills all the research-based requirements, but also provides students with the opportunity to see the amazing purpose-built design that exists in the natural world. So as a final thought, I chose this statement by Loew, where he says an environment-based education movement at all levels of education will help students realise that school isn't supposed to be a polite form of incarceration, but a portal to the wider world.